So we bombed Iran last night. Bravo. Bravo, President Trump. Um, so far as we know yet, no fatalities. No military targets were struck. No public areas were struck. And, it's kind of ridiculous, because all of a sudden, Trump had a campaign. He wins. His base is happy with what he's doing, but the people who didn't vote for him are like calling him a liar and flip flopper, they're calling him all these names about that he lied when what about no new wars, this and that and the third. A lot of times wars are avoided by conflict. Conflict is an acceptable way to solve problems. It is. It is. When all else fails, conflict is acceptable. Now, conflict doesn't necessarily mean violence. No violence was inflicted on anyone. And like they're trying to hold his feet to the fire when the fire's out. There's no fire. You're holding his feet over ashes, you idiots. Like the guy's feet are over ashes. He's totally comfy. You're giving him a foot massage here. Like literally, you're giving him a foot massage. You're making him look good is what you're doing. Because honestly, nobody got hurt. They decide they're going to go with a kinetic engagement, a military engagement, use the armed forces. They set an objective, a simple objective. Hey, we want to take out these three key buildings, these three key installations, these centrifuges or whatever, these storage units for uranium or whatever the hell was there. We want to take out three spots on the map. Or how do the Germans? We want to take out three spots. So they send some B-2s over and they make a show of it. Make sure that everybody knows that, make sure that it's an incredible, that they reach a milestone. I think, Trump, he's smart. He realized he couldn't just come out and say they bombed Iran. He had to be able to come out and say, hey, we did something special. We should be proud that we did this special thing. If you're not proud, you should ask yourself what it is, or where your fealty is and what your goals are. Because you know what I mean? Like that's exactly what he did, and I'm very impressed with his instinct for how to play things in media. Like really, he's making the pros that the Democrats, look like children fumbling, because they're like splitting hairs. They're trying to hold his feet to the fire over campaign promises when he's kept to them. They're trying to say, "Oh, he started a war without telling Congress." Well, Congress can fix that because it is legal for him to do that, and they can fix it. All they have to do is repeal that stupid resolution, whatever law it was in 2001 and 1973, that lets the president bomb or do whatever he wants, as long as he notifies Congress within 48 hours and the engagement it doesn't exceed 60 days. They can remove that anytime they want. Until then, it's a non-issue. But, he just, no matter what anybody says, as of right this second, they haven't retaliated. Nobody has died, and we no longer have to consider a whole lot of possibilities we did before. For 40 years we've been talking about the threat of Iran and them getting bombs and this and that and the third. No, no more. It's done. It's done. That's a non-issue. It does. We. This is the last time we will discuss this. In a week, this will be a footnote. We will never think of. We'll never think of it again. Practically. And this will have this. This will be seen as something good, because we achieved our objective. We did it in a profound milestone, in a way that reached a milestone. So our boys look good. We did it in a measured, thoughtful way. We gave them opportunities we gave them the choice. Hey, you're going to give up a bomb. Everybody agrees. The whole world agrees. You're going to give up the whole nuclear thing. You're going to give it up. Either you can give it up, or we will take it from you. Those are your choices. Iran chose. Now we don't have to worry anymore about it. I mean, people that talk about the whole Israel stuff, I don't care about Israel. All I know is we don't have to talk about this anymore. The Middle East doesn't have to talk about this. We don't really have to talk about the Middle East anymore. They just want to do business. They just want to do business. They just want to sell us oil and China oil. They just want to sell oil and chill. That's cool with me. I'm in it to win it. Trump, he was over there collecting money, for investments. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, Trump just annihilated a lot of alternate universes for the good. I mean, I really can't see much of a downside if they don't retaliate. I just don't see a downside yet. And then also the fact that they can put a Tomahawk missile up a camel's ass from 400 miles away in the ocean. That's pretty incredible. 400 miles? What? 400 miles. That is so far. That's like, a good 6-hour flight or something. Like 4 hour, or it's like an hour flight for a missile, I'm sure. But it's like a plane. The damn thing must have fuel tanks on it or something, those Tomahawks. But also, they flew those B-2s out of Missouri, and they flew 30 hours straight all the way to Iran to drop a 30,000 pound payload. That is incredible. That is incredible. That takes a tremendous amount of logistical planning and a tremendous amount of coordination. I mean, I'm not positive he's right, but, Trump may be right that, only we can do that because they had to refuel, at least once in the air. They had to refuel. They had to, 30 hours straight, that means they had multiple pilots. They were on shifts, and they had refueling. So, that was probably a pretty wild flight, because not only do you have to fly the distance, but you really don't get any breaks either. And then you have the refuelings, which are like hairpin. Those are really tense. My grandfather was a navigator on a AC-130 refueling tanker. He was on one of those with the weird tail that they hook up to helicopters. He was on one of those. That's what he flew in. His combat hours in Vietnam and they had to meet up with like 1 or 2 or 3. I'm not quite sure, but that's a really intense situation because those are two objects in space, in air. The air and there's turbulence. They have to kind of maintain a very static position with each other, and then one has to dock with the other, and then they have to, play this. If you ever seen Doctor Strangelove, it's a very pretty little dance they do, but it's super intense, and they did it. They dropped those bombs. Nobody even knew what was going on till they were gone. Till they were gone out the back door. Gone. Like Iran was just, standing there with their hands in their pockets, not feeling too good about things. But, I mean, it's incredible. It really was.